All right, we're live. Woohoo!
Welcome. We're live. Thank you so much. My name is Marilyn Anderson. I'm your host this evening. My co-host is Denise Belisle. We happen to both live in Vancouver, British Columbia, so we're on the west coast of the continent. And our lovely interview guest this evening is none other than Nanci Wilkinson-Kurtz. So Nanci, welcome to the screen.
Well, thank you. I am honored to be here with you guys.
So I'm going to start by saying, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where's home?
Home is in El Paso, Texas. And so I'm pretty far away from you guys. At the bottom of the United States. We sit right on the US-Mexican border. And I love it here. We have the most fabulous mountains. And the people in El Paso are ones that you just always enjoy coming home to.
Oh, nice.
So it's a really nice place to be.
Oh, that sounds quite lovely. Well, we're going to dive right into the exciting parts of this conversation because I know you've got a very special area of expertise that we want to share with everyone who gets to watch this. So first of all, can you tell me a little bit about this kind of coaching that you're involved in?
Well, I use rapid transformational therapy. And rapid transformational therapy was designed by Marissa Peer. She was a certified hypnotherapist. And after working with clients for numerous years, she developed a system where you could use the hypnosis, go back in time to the root cause of a behavior that was now holding you back from achieving your goals, and getting rid of that belief around that event and reinterpreting it so that it can be used to either just negate the event. I mean, we're not going to get rid of the event. It happened, but we don't have to assign a meaning to it that disempowers us. And then once it's disempowered, we go in and we do a recording for that person based on who they want to be, where they want to go. And that is done as a hypnotic recording. It is sent to them and they're asked to listen to it for a full 21 days because that's the amount of time that it takes for something to embed itself in the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Then what I do is I also use regular life coaching with it in order to get you used to being able to use your conscious mind to help bring these new belief systems into play in your life.
That sounds fascinating. I know that you are involved in the mission of Freedom Transformational Therapy. And can you tell us a little bit about that, what that mission is?
Well, Freedom Transformed was developed because of my past. And I just didn't want to see women having to go through life basically white knuckling everything, where they were just holding so tight to the wheel to try to move forward and maybe making strides in that direction, but at the same time, not being able to enjoy the journey because they had these beliefs that were holding them back, that were telling them they weren't good enough, they weren't worthy enough to have the things that they wanted. And what I wanted to do was help them to overcome those experiences so they could step fully into their potential and they could grow the confidence that they needed in order to design and create and live the life that they wanted to live, one that excited them, one that fulfilled them at all levels.
When did you develop that?
This basically came from going through the training in order to become a rapid transformational therapist and getting certified as a hypnotherapist, and then looking at how things had happened for me. I went through RTT. That was how I got interested in it. I had looked at all kinds of different ways to try and overcome the traumas that were in my past. And I found that I did get that new empowering system, and that started to change things in my life, but I questioned it. And so I wanted to come up with a way that I could bring in things like gaining clarity on where you wanted to go, setting the goals, reverse engineering those goals so that you knew the steps that you could take on a daily basis that was going to get you there, and to concentrate not so much on the goal, but on enjoying the journey to the goal.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, it is. Like, I'm curious. So when people go see you because what I understood is that you do hypnotherapy, right? And that's because people have issues that they want to resolve, or they want to move forward out of, or they want to resolve something in their life. Is that right so far? Yeah.
So far, yes.
Yeah. So when you do an hypnotherapy session with someone, then you ask them question about where they at or the issues, because I know you say you're recording and you want them to listen to it for 21 days. So within that session, what is it that you're gonna create for them that they have to listen for 21 days? I missed that part. So would you like to clarify?
Let's just, I think the easiest thing to do would be to go through what a session would look like.
Yes.
Okay. So when somebody first comes in and we first talk,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about what they think, what belief they had, or what behavior they have that they feel is really holding them back,
Okay.
and what triggers them so that they just quit trying. And
So
then
can you give a hypothetical situation that you might have with one of your clients, without naming, so it will be pretty general? Somebody came to see you because of, so they'll give us a perspective, because I'm very visual, so I need to see it in my mind eye. So
we'll take this to a personal level, because it also answers questions as to how I got into this, okay? And we'll just use me.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. My biggest thing was that I never believed that I deserved to have success.
Okay.
And that was based on the fact that back when I was 16 years old, I was the victim of a gang rape.
Okay.
And like a lot of rape victims, my way of handling it, and especially since I was 16, it was such a grown-up decision. I decided that self-medicating was a really good way to handle this. So on top of all of the shame and feeling of being selected because something must be wrong with me that this was allowed to happen to me. I also had all the guilt and shame that comes with the things that you do when you become an addict.
Yeah.
To support that addiction. So underneath all of it, it was this thing that just kept saying to me, you don't deserve to have good things happen to you. And because I believed that good things couldn't happen to me, I didn't let them happen to me. As soon as something started to go right in my life, I'd stop doing it.
Mm.
Okay. So that was what was stopping me. So once we know what it is that's stopping you, then we look at things, and this is where it gets fun, because then we look at things like, what would you like to be? What would you like to have in your life? Who would you like to be?
So do you ask those questions once they are under
No,
hypnosis
we're
or
going to
prior
do
to?
all of this prior to going
Okay.
into hypnosis.
Okay.
We're going to get down, what is that presenting problem that you want to work
Yeah.
on?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to talk about, what kind of life do you want to create?
Yeah.
What do you want to be in that life? What would you need to believe to have that kind of life? What kind of behaviors would you have to have? How would
Mhm.
that help your family?
Yeah.
How would that help your friends? What would you like for your friends to be saying about you now that you've become this successful person?
Yeah, because sometimes there
Those-
might, for that situation, for example, I've had people saying that, oh, but they might think that I don't deserve it. So it's a way of changing the internal language, right? From what they hear their
Right,
friends saying, or their
right,
partner or their family. It's like, who do you think you are to deserve this? That's often the internal language. So what you're asking now is, how would you like to be perceived? How do you want the family to welcome you? Celebrate your success, for example.
right, right. And how do you want to feel? How do you want to now present yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we go into hypnosis, and we
Yeah.
do it in a very quick way. I've done hypnosis before where it's like a 30-minute thing before you're actually in an alpha state. We go into it in a very quick way, a very scientific way. And what we do then is we ask for the subconscious mind to take you to that event that caused you to create that belief. And we do that 3 different times. And the reason we do it multiple times is a lot of times the first time is not the actual root cause. So we want to go deeper
Yeah.
into it. It also gives us 3 different scenes in your life where this belief is playing out in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives us a little bit more of a picture of how this is working in your life. And then we go back and we start to take that belief apart. Because the
Okay.
neat thing about beliefs is whenever you start to question them, they start to unravel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to do. We want to now use the adult mind that we have today and look at that decision that this child made who didn't have the experience to be making this decision.
Mm-hmm.
We want to take that information and just start to unravel it and then provide proof. While you're in there still in hypnosis, let's look at what do you have today? Doesn't that prove that this is not a valid point? Like for me, it was like, well, I've got my own house. I have my own car. I pay my own bills.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a master's degree. I've run a business for 30 years. Well, then how can you still hold on to this belief that you don't deserve anything in your life because
Mm-hmm.
it did turn your life around?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, we go through an exercise where we just wrap this all up, take these beliefs and just throw them away and say, you know what? This just doesn't even matter to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're not stuck with this. And then we go into one where we're the one that they're going to take home with them. that is going to give that those empowering beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
set the goals out for them, set the beliefs out for them, because I am a firm believer that you cannot have something until you become the person who can handle having it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And we
Mm.
don't believe sometimes that we became that person.
Mm-hmm.
So it just gets that into the subconscious mind. You do deserve this because you, excuse me just a minute.
An avid fan.
Yes, yes.
They've been really good for like 2 hours now.
Oh,
They're all
That's
very
okay.
old. They're all very old, and normally we're just rugs.
It's all good.
oh,
So
this
I
is
apologize for that.
That's
no,
okay.
no
So,
apologies.
so what I understood is when you end the session, you kind of do a reprogramming of what their outcome is going to become, right? Like you kind of insert in their mind the outcome they have chosen that they want to see,
Right, and the belief system that
and the
they're
belief
going to need
system.
in order to achieve that.
And this is the section that they will have to re-listen for
This-
21 days.
Right. And
That's
what we
awesome.
do in this is we weave in two of the big rules of the mind. And one is that the mind is going to learn by repetition.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to hear something over and over and over again to learn it. And it learns by the words that we use and the pictures that we create. So when we do this one that you take home with you and listen to, we're using a repetitive system of getting it into the mind, but we're also doing it in a way that is creating strong images in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like an architect who is going to go out and build a house, they've got this blueprint that's going to take.
Yeah, of course, of course. You need to create a map, a blueprint, so that you know exactly where you want to go.
Right, so that you know exactly where you're heading.
So do you do that in person or do you do that over the internet?
I do mine on Zoom.
So my question is, because my idea of being hypnosed is like if I'm alone in my house and you hypnose me and I'm under hypnosis, and if something goes wrong, then what happened?
Hypnosis, actually, nothing can happen to you in hypnosis.
Okay, just
Okay.
answering people in case they're watching and they say, "Oh my goodness, I don't want to be stuck," whatever.
Well, I always tell people, because you're dealing with the internet, so you never know when's the internet going to kick me off.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'll always tell them, if you don't hear my voice for 3 minutes or for a couple of minutes, you're going to wake up. You're going to come out of the hypnotic state.
Okay.
And we've got you in a state that is just kind of bypassing that conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, you and I are talking to each other
Yeah.
all the way through this.
Mhm.
Because all I'm doing is asking you questions.
Yeah.
You're the one that's doing the work and doing the unraveling and
Yeah.
and working on that belief.
So it's done in a safe and secure environment, even though we're like 3,000 miles apart.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, one of the other things is that people will enter into the hypnotic state when they are in a place where they feel safe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you're going to feel most people feel safe in their own home.
Yeah.
They do this in their home. They do it in a room where they feel safe, in an atmosphere that they feel safe in. And like I say, you will come out of it if there seems to be no feedback anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you've gone into this deep sleep that
You'll get stuck there forever.
you'll be stuck there forever. And you're going to remember what you do.
Okay, great.
One of the other big questions that I always get is that people are afraid because they're like, we're so used to seeing the Las Vegas shows.
Yeah.
And,
Where people
yeah, I'm gonna make you bark
get
like
to
a
do
dog.
stupid things, and
Yeah. And they're like, well, what are you going to make me do when I'm in hypnosis? Well, here's the big thing. Your brain is not going to allow you to do something that it does not see the value in.
Yeah.
So if it looks at this and goes, yeah, I don't see the value in barking like a dog, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's just, and like I say, you're in that state where more like if you were watching a movie and you get really into that movie and the phone rings and you jump. That's a hypnotic state.
Yeah.
So it's just an instantaneous, you're just right back out of it again.
Good. So Marilyn, do you have any question?
No, I just wanted to thank Nanci. This has just been a delightful conversation, and fortunately for me, this is my second conversation with Nanci. So I've had the chance to hear this twice. I have a friend in Vancouver who is an RTT therapist as well, and so I've heard a fair amount about the process, and in fact had followed Marissa Peer online for a while, just out of interest and curiosity, because I came across her work about 4 years ago. So I'm very excited to be able to be part of this conversation. And Nanci, thank you so very much.
Oh, Marilyn, it has been a delight. Both times. It has been an absolute delight to spend time with you.
And what's the best way for people to contact you?
They can contact me through Freedom Transformed or Nanci Wilkinson Kurtz on Facebook. I have a group on there that is called Confidence Beyond Trauma. And I'm just starting to build the group. And what we're going to be doing is twice a month, we are going to have a virtual dinner party. And anybody who would like to come is invited to come to the dinner party. It is just going to be women that are looking to regain their confidence after a traumatic event and build the life that they want to live. We talk about it, what you want to do, what's holding you back, and then we visualize actually achieving that goal with each other.
Nice.
There's no selling on it. There's no forcing you into anything else. It's just a time for us all to kind of get together. And then if you want to move further into it and you want to become a one-on-one client, then that's great.
Oh, nice. That's a good way to put your little toe into it and test it out.
Right. It gives you a chance. And if it's something that you just aren't ready to do, because for some people, our mind wants to hold on to what's comfortable. And sometimes what's comfortable is the bad feeling, unfortunately. We don't know.
Yeah.
We're afraid to step into something that going to force us to play on a bigger stage. And this is just a safe environment. Like I say, it's just going to be other women that are also working on this, getting together and talking about it and helping each other out.
That's fantastic.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you both very, very much. This has been delightful. And we're going to take good care of this recording, Nanci, so that a whole plethora of people across the internet can follow you because of this. Thank you so very much.
I appreciate that, Melanie. It was nice meeting you for the first time, Denise.
Yes, nice meeting you too.
Denise is someone you want to follow as well. Just another
yes, I know. I saw hers today, so yes, I will be following her too.
That's delightful. Thank you very much. Now, Denise, you're going to guide me.
Click on streaming and do stop.
Oops. Click on streaming. And stop streaming.
Yes. And then same thing with the recording.
Okay, so I have to come back out of streaming, yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, she left the meeting somehow. So stop recording.